Oh boy, am I excited. Got a delivery from Bellissimoto. And it is a QD exhaust for the Ducati Multistrada V4S. Now, I only opted for the slip-on, and I could not believe how light this package was. So let's open this puppy up and let's see what we have here with this QD exhaust. Oh, I'm very excited about this. Wow, is this light? Holy crap, is this light? All right, it said warranty void if the seal is broken, but you know what? I don't know what to tell you. If unboxing it voids a warranty, maybe I should be a little concerned. But let's see what we have here. Oh my. Looks to me, it seems like I can't get it out. There it is. Oh, ho, ho, ho. All right, so there it is, a QD exhaust directly from Italy. Well, via Las Vegas. But this is the slip-on exhaust. This is going to take the place of my Ducati Multistrada V4S stock muffler. It is significantly smaller. I think I'll get a little bit of a better sound out of it. I'm not doing this for performance. If I was doing this for performance, then one of the things that I would have done is I would have done the Ducat. The problem is that I want to tell you why I did this, and we're going to go into this in a little bit. But let's see what comes in this package. Of course, we have this. We have the hardware to mount it. We have a new bracket to put on to mount it with the hardware, and this beautiful carbon fiber heat shield that's going to take the place of what's already on the Ducati. I cannot wait to put this together and take a look at what this is going to look like. So let's go to the bike and let's talk while I'm doing the job. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be, this is really a 15-minute job. This heat shield is going to come off. When you remove the heat shield, you'll see from underneath is the clamp for the slip-on. Then we're going to remove this and this to take this piece off, and this is going to get replaced with a new one. So we're basically going to take off the heat shield, take this off actually right here. I'll probably take this off first and pull this off, right? So this bracket comes off, this bracket gets replaced, put the new slip-on on, retighten the clamp that holds the slip-on on down here, and put the new bracket, tighten it all up, tighten this up, and then put the new heat shield here, which is going to be carbon fiber. I'm curious as to the difference in weight between this slip-on and this, stock muffler and the slip-on that I have. Extremely curious about that. I guess we are about to see. So starting off, you're going to need a 4mm hex head. We call them Allen heads in the United States, but a 4mm hex head to take off this screw and this screw right here. I will tell you that in the past, this screw has actually worked its way off and fallen out during the amount of time that I've put on this bike, and I had to have this replaced. So it's a good idea to check them anyway, but these will be coming out. We'll start with this one. One and two. All right. That simple for starters. Next up is going to be loosening this band clamp right here, and that should be a 13mm. All right, 13mm. Just loosen that up. And you want to keep this one pretty loose so that you have some room, some wiggle room, and to jiggle with it so that you can, number one, have an easy time getting a new one in, and then also be able to manipulate to get the old one out. So you're going to want to slide this back kind of as far as you can to give yourself some space. All right, next thing is going to be to take it out. So you put your 13mm socket away. All right, next up is going to be your choice. You can either take these out right here or take off this and then remove this later. I'm going to opt to just take this off. So you're going to need a 6mm hex head. All right, and once again, ooh, brakes nice and easy. Not a lot of torque on that. Looks like there's some rubber washers in there for vibration. And all right, so I'm putting a 13mm box end over there. I actually think it's a 12, but it's already loose, so it's just a matter of holding it in place. I'm not even sure. I'll let you know exactly what size it is. But whatever I'm using here, this 13mm, certainly appears to be working. And I think I'm done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out, and let's see. With that being done, you should now be able to slowly manipulate the muffler out. And there it is. It comes out that easy. Now for removing the bracket, there are 2 hex head screws that are each 5mm. So now you just need a 5mm in order to take off this bracket. All right, there's one. Ooh, I love to hear that snap. That means there must have been some thread lock in there. So let's just get this off. I'm trying to not be in the way of the camera, but I mean, this is such a simple job. It really shouldn't be that much of an issue. And look, wow, look at that. Red thread lock. Interesting. I heard that snap and I was like, huh, that's thread lock, but they used the red stuff. So I will probably have to use the red stuff, but I honestly think I only have the blue thread lock, which is more removable. The red is supposed to be permanent, but you know, who knows? But this might get hot. All right, so now we have this off, the bracket, and we are ready to put on the slip-on. Well, you can call me crazy, but I want to look inside of that pipe to make sure that there are no surprises before I go ahead and put anything in there. So I'm just going to get in your way, and if you can see anything in there, you could see it looks pretty clear. There's no damage. Everything's to be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to do the same thing with the new pipe off to camera where you don't see it. Just going to make sure that it's all clear, and now we can start slipping this puppy in. Let's get started. Well, this is the part of the job that can go easy or it can go hard. Like I said before, I want to keep this band clamp back out of the way, loose as far as you can get it. And this is where it's either going to slip in nice and easy, or it is not. Now, this is the outer component, and this that's knurled, well not knurled, that is pushed outward, it's flared slightly, is gonna fit between the outside where it's split and the inside so that the exhaust is going in this direction. I'm also gonna try to keep this lined up approximately where it's going to go, and just try to slide that in. And this one is working rather easily. Of course, it's a pretty new bike. It's just a little over a year old, and it's got 18,000 miles on it. So I have it in pretty far. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I'm just setting this in here for now, and leaving it loose, and I'm not gonna tighten this down. And the reason why I'm not gonna tighten this down is because I need to get this clamped up exactly where it's supposed to be. Then once I have that where it's supposed to be, it's at that point that I can go ahead and clamp this down. This will be one of the last things I do before I put my carbon fiber. All right, now it comes with all of the bolts and screws that you're gonna need. So when I put the new carbon fiber on here, all right, like this, it comes with brand new screws, but I would still keep the old screws as spares. It's gonna look something like that. But again, I'm down past as far as I can see that it can probably go at this point, all right? But let me get this side straightened out first, and I'll worry about this once I get this secure. This way you have it where it's supposed to be. You might say to yourself, well, I'm gonna clamp this down, this way I know it's a good fit, and then I can manipulate it into place. I'd rather not do that. I'm gonna get this where they expect it to be with the new bracket, and then I'll take care of this part over here. I'm already looking at this and I'm going, looks to me like, yeah, I'm kind of hiding this a little bit underneath here, but it is what it is. The bottom line is it looks a lot better than the old one. So let's get started. Now, this does not come with any directions. And to be quite honest with you, I really don't know why it really would need directions, because when you do this, there's only one way that this new bracket's gonna fit, and it's gonna be like this, all right? This is slotted to give you some, wiggle room, and these are not. Now, these had red thread lock on them. I do not have red thread lock. They came with new screws that are gonna take a 4mm hex head, unlike the old ones that were a 5, but we were already using the 4 over here. So I'm going to get some blue thread lock ready on 1 and 2. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm putting blue thread lock on. All right, you can probably see it there. And then I'm just going to get this started with this first one with some blue thread lock, and I'm going to use some blue thread lock right here on the other one. Get them screwed in. Just if you don't have red thread lock, I think blue is perfectly fine. You can always change it out to red in the future if you wanted to. But for right now, I think the most important part is that you have your number 4mm, and you go ahead and tighten down this clamp. You tighten down this new bracket, all right? As far as torque specs, good and tight. It's a German word I heard. It's called good and tight. But good and tight will work. That's one of the reasons why you want the thread lock. All right, let me get my face or my out of your way, and just experience tells you when it's good. I don't care what you say. All right, we can always convert that over. We can see where this lines up. And now, because I didn't tighten the clamp on the bottom yet, that gives me some wiggle room to get this in where it needs to be. I don't want it bumping up against this, so I may want to rotate it a little bit. We'll see. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a gap in there. I don't want this to wear through. And we shall continue. All right, now that this is relatively close to being lined up, all right, you have some wiggle room up and down. You're going to take the bolt that's provided, you're going to put it through this little spacer that kind of looks kind of cool, and then that on the other side is going to be what we call whiz nuts, kind of like a locking nut. This is 13mm, and this, so you're going to need a 13mm socket, and over here you're going to need a 6mm hex head. All right, so let's see if I can find a spot to get this through. And I can, and then I'll put the whiz nut on the back. But even with the whiz nut, I am absolutely going to use some thread lock. So I'll use some blue because I don't have red, and I really don't like using red because red is really supposed to be permanent, and I really don't want to use that. All right, so put my trusty 13 millimeter there, put my 6 millimeter hex head here, and tighten this up. And once again, good and tight. I certainly don't want to go any tighter than that. So now this is in. I have a nice space between here. It's hiding the logo with where this is, but I have a nice space in between here. This is nice and tight, so now I can go down to the bottom and I can tighten down my clamp. All right, so now you get your 13 millimeter socket out. Time to tighten this up, and now that this is nice and loose, we can put this in place. Now, we don't want this here. We don't want it in the way. We want it hidden underneath, kind of where it was. You're gonna put it right before where this is flared out here, kind of. All right, we're just gonna come down here and just hand tighten it. And I'm sure there is a torque spec somewhere for this. I don't know where it is. I don't really care, because once again, good and tight will prevail. And if you have any issues, once you get it up and running, you can always retighten it. You just want to make sure that the last thing you want to do is over tighten this clamp and end up snapping it. Okay, so experience tells me I'm done with that. Now that that's done, let's get the heat shield on and we can listen and see what this thing sounds like. How does that sound? Now, let's do it. All right, these new screws are actually 3 millimeter hex, so they're a little bit smaller, but once again, we know where this is gonna go. I wanna put a little bit of blue thread lock on here. It's not gonna hurt anything, but it'll certainly help. All right, so let's get one started with the blue thread lock in here. Probably blocking you, but there's nothing I can do about that. The other one going. All right, here we go. Let's find that hole. All right, there we are. So these you certainly, absolutely do not want to over tighten and strip these out. You put the thread lock on them, they're holding something that's just very lightweight. There are screws that can be easily replaced. So as far as this is concerned, you know, the usual that I like to use, good and tight. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I can feel it, but I don't want to believe it. I don't know where I'm at with that. Since these are so small, you may even want to consider putting them on with a 1/4 inch ratchet instead of a 3/8 ratchet. All right. Well, that was easy. So there you have it. This is literally a 15-minute job. If you're really good at this, it's even faster. I took my time because I had to change the angle on the camera and everything like that. I did do the cardinal sin by not recording the audio of the original first. I have that audio somewhere because I have done that before. And that was one of the whole things that I was going to do, was to put that on here. However, I forgot to record the audio with the original. But here's the thing. For those that have the Multistrada, have watched videos, you know what it sounds like. You know how benign it is. There is a built-in baffle in here that I actually can remove if I want to. All right, you just take this carbon piece off and it can be done. But this is a really simple job. It's basically a clamp, a new bracket, new bolt, new piece on top here that's now carbon fiber, which I think makes it look better. It matches the carbon fiber of the back. I mean, it's just that simple. So let's take it outside and see what it sounds like.